Lesson 4.8 is called Divide Using Partial Quotients. Our essential question is, how can you use partial quotients to divide by one-digit divisors? Please write this essential question in your notes. Let's look at our first problem. We have at camp, there are 5 players on each soccer team. If there are 125 people on soccer teams, how many teams are there? So I know that there are 5 players, and there are a total of 125 people that are going to be on the soccer teams. So I want to know how many teams there are going to be. So I have 125 people in total divided by there's 5 players going to be on each team, and I want to know how many teams there are. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do my division problem by doing repeated subtraction, just like we learned the other day. So I have 125 divided by 5. Now I know I can subtract, and I'm not going to subtract 5 each time because that would take me a long time. I'm at 125. But I know that if I subtract a big multiple of 5, that it will get me to my answer faster. So I know that 10 times 5 is 50 because I've been practicing my multiples, and I know that anything times 10 is going to be that number with a 0 on it, and that's going to be 50. So I'm going to subtract 125 minus 50. That's a big chunk of 5. And I put down that 50 is 10 groups of 5. So I have 5 minus 0 is 5. And then if I regroup here, and then I have 12 minus 5 is 7. So I have 75 now. So my number is getting smaller. Now I can see that I can still take another group of 10 away from 75. I can take 50 away again from 75. So I'm going to subtract another group of 10, which is 50, and I'm going to put my 10 groups because 10 times 5 was 50. And when I do 75 minus 50, I get 25. So now I have 25 left, and I'm going to see, if I count by 5s, let me see if I get to 25 somewhere. And as I'm counting, I'm going to be putting up a finger each time. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I did. I can subtract 25 because 25 is a multiple of 5. And when I did that, I had 5 fingers up. So that means that that is 5 groups of 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. Now 25 minus 25 is 0. So I got to 0. Now my job isn't done yet. I need to come and look at my partial quotients, my groups over here, and I need to add them up. So I know that 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 5 is 25. So that's my answer. 25. Now I can check this answer, can I? So I'm going to take my 25 and I'm going to times it by my divisor, which is 5, and my answer should be 125 if I did the right steps. So 5 times 5 is 25. Regroup my 2. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12. I got it, 125, so I know that my answer is right. There are going to be there are going to be 25 teams of soccer. Now let's divide this problem using partial quotients. Now let's say that I had 330 M&Ms and I wanted to share them with 3 students. Well, it would take me a really long time to divide 330 M&Ms, giving 3 M&Ms out each time. So I'm going to see if I can use a bigger number, a bigger multiple of 3 to get my answer faster. Well, I'm going to think, what times 3 would be close to 330 that I could subtract? Well, what about if I did 100 groups of 3? What if I did 100 times 3? Well, I know 1 times 3 is 3, and then if I put my 2 zeros, that's 300. I can subtract 330. I can subtract 300 from 330, can't I? So I'm going to use that partial quotient. So my groups would be 100. So I have 100 groups of 3. Now let me subtract. So I have 0, 3, and this is 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. So now I have 30. Well, I have 30 M&Ms left. Now let me think. What times 3 is going to give me 30? Oh yeah, 10 groups times 3 is 30. So I can subtract 10 times 3, I know is 30. I can subtract 30 from 30, and that is going to give me 0. And that was 10 groups of 3. So now all I need to do is come over here to where my partial quotients are. I'm going to circle my groups. And I have 100 plus 10 is 110. So each person is going to get 110 M&Ms. And I found that answer out by subtracting bigger multiples of 3 each time. Let's look at this problem. I have 198 divided by 9. Now let me think. If I have 198 Skittles and I want to give some Skittles to 9 students, I wonder how many Skittles each student would get. Well, I'm going to use division to figure out that problem. So I have 198 and I need to divide, or I need to subtract multiples of 9. Well, if I subtracted 9 each time, it would take me a long time. So I'm going to think of bigger multiples of 9 that I can subtract. Well, I do know that 10 times 9 is 90. I know that, and I could always use that and subtract 90. But I'm going to see what's going to happen if I subtract 20 times 9. Well, I know that 2 times 9 is 18, and then I put my 0. Well, I have 180. Can I subtract 180 from 198? And will I get my answer faster? Yes, I can. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to subtract 180 first, because that's a bigger multiple of 9. And that, I said, was 20 groups of 9, because I did 20 times 9, so that's 20 groups. So when I subtract, I get 18. Well, that got me there a lot faster. So I still have 18 Skittles left to pass out to each kid, to pass out to my 9 kids. So now I'm going to see, what times 9 is 18? Well, I know that 2 times 9 is 18. Let me check. 2 times 9 is 18. Yep, that's right. So I know that I can subtract 18 from 18, and then I said that that was 2 groups of 9. So I'm going to put my 2 groups over here. Now 18 minus 18 is 0, and I have no more Skittles left. I passed them all out. So now I need to come and see how many groups or how many partial quotients do I have, and I need to add them together. Well, I have 20 plus 2 is 22. And that's my answer. Can I check this answer? Yes, I can. I'm going to take my 22 and I'm going to multiply that by my divisor, my 9, and my answer should be 198 when I finish. So 2 times 9 is 18, and 2 times 9 is 18 plus 1 is 19. Yep. My answer was right. So each student is going to get 22 Skittles. Now we have 475 divided by 5. Now it would take me a long time to do repeated subtraction and just take groups of 5 away. So my goal is to subtract the biggest multiples of 5 that I can. So I'm going to make my t-chart. Remember, we could do this. And I'm going to put sub at the top for subtract and record on this side for recording my groups. And I have 475, and this is where I'm going to do my subtraction. Now I'm going to think, I have 475. Well, I'm going to use compatible numbers. Remember when we did that? When we tried to turn our numbers into happy numbers, I'm going to use my compatible number strategy to see if there's a multiple of 5 that's close to 47. So I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. I know 45 is close to 47. And so if I add a 0 to that, it's 450, and I can subtract that from 475, and that is, or 45 is 9 groups of 5, but since there's a 0, it's actually 5 times 90 is 450. Let me just come up here and check really quick and make sure. So I have 5 times 90. Well, 5 times 9 is 45, plus my 0, yep, 450. I was right. So that is 90 groups of 5. So when I do my subtraction, so I have 5 and 2, I get 25 left. So I still have 25 left that I need to subtract. Well, let me do my multiples of 5 again. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I can subtract 25 from 25, and that is 5 times 5, and that's 5 groups of 5. And when I subtract, I get 0, so I'm done. I have no more numbers to subtract. Now I need to come to my record side and add up my groups. So 90 plus 5 is 95. And that is my answer. Can I check this? Yes, I can. I have 95 times 5, so 95 times your divisor, which is 5, and I should get 475. 5 times 5 is 25. Regroup my 2. 9 times 5 we know is 45 now, plus 2 is 47. Yep, I got 475, so my answer is right. Here are your homework problems for tonight. We have number 1 says 428 divided by 4. You're going to use repeated subtraction for this, and you're going to try to subtract the biggest multiples of 4 possible. And then number 2 says there are 126 students who signed up to learn how to play lacrosse. If there are 6 students in each group, how many groups are there? So this is kind of like our soccer team problem from before. So we have 126 kids playing lacrosse, and then there are going to be 6 kids in each group, and I want to know how many teams there are. When you get done with your homework problems, I want you to assess yourself. Are you level 1, novice, level 2, apprentice, level 3, practitioner, or level 4, expert? Make sure you write this at the bottom of your notes. So here are your homework problems again. Good luck, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.